What's going on, everyone? Snakebite here. Today we're going to be talking about the controller that you need to help you go pro. It is so good to be back to recording some Halo 5. Obviously, we played the last 10K like 2 weeks ago or something like that. And, after the tournament, just took some time off. Really just been playing Halo 3 because obviously we have our weekly tournaments there. And now I'm back on the Halo 5 grind, so it's really nice to be back to recording it, streaming it, doing everything back to normal. But today, we're going to be talking about why you may need a different controller. Now listen, I am not sponsored by any controller companies. I hope one day in the future, obviously I do get one. I will only go with one that fits me and that I can actually recommend. So we're going to talk about a couple different brands and a couple different options for everybody. Now the reason that you may need a different controller, I'm sure this is kind of public knowledge now, but I think it is important to consider for yourself. You need a different controller if you do not claw. So what I mean by that is when I hold a controller, I shoot with my middle finger. I do not shoot with my index finger. If you shoot with your index finger, you most likely need a different controller. I'm going to go over a couple brands in a second, but I'm going to explain to you why. Basically, there's less margin for error. Realistically, for any game you're playing on console, Halo, Call of Duty, Gears of War, any competitive game on console, that your goal should be to not take your thumb off the thumbstick, right? So when I claw, this is how I'm holding. This is my hand holding the controller at all times, right? I press the buttons with my index finger. I shoot with my middle. My thumb does not come off of this. Now listen, I know what you're thinking already. If you do not have a SCUF controller, an Elite controller, a Battle Beaver, those are the three biggest ones, biggest companies that I would say. Maybe I'm sure that there's more. Those controllers, a SCUF, a Battle Beaver, and Elite, they come with paddles, they come with buttons. What you'll do is you'll be able to hold your controller normally, like how you currently do, unless you obviously already claw. And the paddles will allow you to not take your thumb. Paddles or buttons will allow you to not take your thumb off of the thumbstick. I cannot stress to you enough for every single game how important this is. And listen, I know what you are thinking already. You're thinking there are some pro players that do not claw and do not have paddles or buttons, right? I know what you're thinking. I know you already think that, and you think you will be okay. You don't need it. But I promise you, it is a 100% fact that the majority of pros either claw or use paddles. Now listen, you might be able, if you were trying to be a professional player, you might be able to break into the scene, into the competitive scene without it. I don't know. I really don't. But if you want to guarantee a way for your gameplay to improve and for you to be mechanically better, this is going to be the best option for you. Now, what a lot of people are going to consider doing to save yourself some money is try to switch over to clawing, the way that I grip the controller. I would not recommend that. I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. If you were probably above the age of 16, do not try to claw. The reason being, at least this is my philosophy, right? And what I recommend to people and what I say. If you have not been clawing for a large amount of your time on the game, you're going to put your hands at severe risk. Okay, I think that clawing already probably has some kind of risk to it, maybe more than paddles and everything. I don't know, right? I don't know which is worse. I don't know which is better. But if you are like 20 years old and you've been gaming for 10 years, your hands, when you switch to this, they're going to hurt. And they're going to hurt really bad. And honestly, you're setting yourself up for failure and potentially damaging your hand compared to you grip your controller the same. Let's say you shoot with your index finger. I can't even explain how weird this is to me. And you're going to just hit a button or a paddle right here on the back of your controller, right? Still will feel different. You'll still be using your hand a little bit differently on the controller, but overall a lot better. Real quick, I'm just going to run through like some examples to show you guys what I mean. Let's say I'm pushing Pink Street here, right? And I want to be really aggressive. When I thrust slide here, if there's a guy, when I thrust slide out there, right? If there's a guy here, any direction he moves, right? I'm able to trace. That's what gaming is. It's tracing. It's tracing your aim and tracing your enemy. So when I do this, I'm able to trace with my enemy no matter what. I literally don't even think I could thrust slide off of it, but look, I can't even explain how much worse that feels to me. And not just worse it feels to me, obviously I've been clawing my whole life, but taking my thumb off the thumbstick, I just feel I'm dead. If someone pokes out here and my thumb is off the thumbstick, I'm dead. There are players that do it. Trippy and Renegade, they're two of the most dominant players on Halo that I know that actually do it. To be honest, I think they're the only players, like professional players, that play Halo this way, right? And honestly, I could probably argue that they'd be better off playing with paddles still. So I don't want to go into too many examples. I think this is something that you guys probably know. But if you're trying to be a professional player in Halo Infinite, you want to go pro in Call of Duty, you want to be pro at Gears of War, or like maybe you play Apex competitively, or I don't know, like anything with a controller, I would 100% recommend getting a controller that assists you with mapping and being able to not take your thumb off the thumbstick. It's really, obviously, it's one of the most important things that you're going to get in the game. So why not help yourself out? And listen, I don't use a Scuff, a Battle Beaver, an Elite. I don't use any controllers like that because I've been clawing my whole life, right? So this is, if you're wondering what controller I use, I just use a default Xbox controller. I hope one day I will be able to switch to another company's controller, and I wouldn't use paddles, but like, you know, I like to get some designs and stuff thrown onto my controllers. But given the fact I'm not partnered with anyone and I don't work with anyone, there's no sense for me to go to a different company because I like I'm just one of those people as a professional player. I like having a lot of backup controllers. So it's there, but the thing about that, right? There's a big difference between being a professional player and needing 4 controllers to being one player who is trying to grind ranked and make it really high. You know, you can afford, I don't want to say afford, but you can allow yourself to get a Scuff, an Elite, a Battle Beaver, insert company's controller here to help your game, and then hopefully you can make it to that next level, which then you get yourself partnered, or, you know, however it may be. Anyway, guys, that's going to be the end of the video. I hope that you do find this useful. I feel like this is something that a lot of people already know. These controllers have been around for a long time. I don't think I'm saying anything new, but for my channel and for the people that watch me and look to my channel for advice, I want to make sure to have this video on document so you guys can understand it and just understand quickly the grasp of, you know, not having to take your thumb off the thumbstick. I don't know what that skip was. We're gonna completely ignore it. But listen, thank you for watching. It feels so great to be back onto Halo 5 and recording. Be on the lookout for a lot of Halo 5 videos coming up over these next couple weeks. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you next video. Peace out.